Since she came into this kingdom, our people have been prospering and they are happy. That is exactly what makes it dangerous, Odenigbo replied sharply. Too much blessing can blind the eye. If one girl can do what our gods do, then soon people will forget how to bow to the shrine. And if everybody becomes wealthy, we will lose our relevance in this kingdom. Once upon a time, in the quiet heart of Umuozara village, there lived a poor woman named Ijeoma. Her life was like the dry season, long, harsh, and full of waiting. For years, she had been married to Ezudo, a humble palm wine tapper whose laughter once filled their compound like the sound of flowing wine. But laughter had long left their home. Sorrow now lived with them like a stubborn shadow that refused to leave, no matter how bright the day grew. They had been married for 12 long years, and in those 12 years, Ijeoma had birthed 6 children, and sadly, also buried 6 children. Each child came crying into the world, a cry so full of promise that even the birds paused to listen. But before the moon could complete her circle, before the villagers could even memorize the child's name, death would sneak in and carry the baby away. At first, the villagers sympathized with her. They cried with her, fetched firewood, cooked food, and helped her dig tiny graves. After all, child loss was not a stranger in the land. But when sorrow began to knock too often on the same door, their pity turned to suspicion. Tongues began to wag around Umuozara. This is not ordinary gain, some said, shaking their heads dramatically, as if they could smell witchcraft in the wind. I'm sure that woman is a witch. Maybe she eats her own children. I hear of people who do that. Others hissed behind her back, their voices dripping with fear and gossip. But it didn't stop at that. Soon, people began to avoid her. Mothers would yank their children away whenever she passed. Don't go near her or her compound. Do you want to disappear? They whispered loudly, enough for her to hear. Even her husband, poor Ezudo, stopped smiling. He became a shadow of himself, silent, withdrawn, walking through the village with heavy steps, like a man carrying the weight of shame on his back. Whenever he entered the palm grove, other men would pause their tapping and whisper, "That's Himo, the one whose wife eats her babies." Their home, once filled with laughter, became silent, like a graveyard. Their hearts were heavy with sorrow, that even the walls of their hearts seemed to sigh each night. Every night, when the moon rose and the world grew quiet, when even the frogs in the river stopped croaking for a moment, Ijeoma would step outside her hut, kneel on the cool earth, and whisper to the heaven. Her voice trembled through the still air. What have I done, Chim? If there is a God that still listens, give me one child. Just one that will live to call me Mama and prove to the villagers that I am not a witch, that I didn't eat my children. Her tears would glisten in the moonlight, tiny diamonds of pain falling into the dust. But heaven seemed silent and her prayers carried away by the night wind. Now, in Umuozara, the people worshipped the goddess of the moon. And for generations, she had blessed the land. Their yam-bands overflowed, their rivers dried, and the women of the village were known for birthing strong children. Every year, the people celebrated her with a grand festival called the Moon Festival. A time when they danced, sang, and poured palm wine in her honor. It was a festival that even the spirits envied. The Moon Festival was the pride of Umuozara. The day usually started with feasting, goats roasted whole, pounded yam rising in mountains, and spicy soups bubbling in clay pots. By nightfall, when the moon rose high and white like a calabash of light, the entire village gathered in the square. Drums thundered like hearts in love. Flutes wept and laughed in turns. The maidens danced until their waists forgot to rest, and their anklets jingled like laughter from another world. Even the old men, who claimed their knees were weak, would tap their walking sticks and hum, "Ewo, in my youth, I too could dance like that." The moon herself glowed brighter than 1,000 lamps, flooding every corner of the village with her silver blessing. It was said that on this night, the goddess herself, Nimiri, leaned close to watch her beloved children rejoice. But people of Umuozara also believed something else. A story so old that even the oldest elder didn't know when it began. They believed that the moon goddess Nimiri herself loved to visit the earth on the night of her festival. Some swore they once saw her appear like a radiant maiden, her skin glowing like palm oil under firelight, her eyes deep as a river, dancing among them in the crowd. But who could be sure? The goddess loved to hide in mystery. Still, it was not her dancing that made the night special. It was deeper than what they knew. It usually happened when the drum stopped and the moon began to fade. For before she vanished at midnight, the goddess would descend to wash herself in the cool river of Umuozara. And whoever met her there, not out of curiosity, but out of pain, would find instant peace and solution. But no one knew that truth except fate. And that night, fate led Mami Ijeoma to the river. The drums had gone silent. The dancers had gone home. Only the echo of laughter lingered on the wind. As Ijeoma walked barefoot along the narrow path leading to the river, her wrapper tied loosely around her tired waist, the atmosphere of Umuozara still danced in celebration. But Ijeoma's heart, her poor heart was dancing to another rhythm, a slow, heavy rhythm of pain. She was tired of living, tired of hoping, tired of being the woman the entire village pointed at whenever a child sneezed. The woman who the villagers would always draw their children inside when she walked past. Her eyes were swollen from too many tears, but still they burned. No, she couldn't bear the shame and pain anymore. She needed to end it. Tears ran down her cheeks as she walked. The wind sighed as though it pitied her, and the moon above watched in silence, bright and distant. The path to the river was narrow, lined with whispering bushes and soft hums of cricket. Her feet crushed falling leaves that had forgotten how to live. When Ijeoma reached the river, she stopped. The moon was still up, hanging proudly in the sky, her round face shining on the water like a silver mirror. She sat by the river bank and began to weep, softly at first, then louder, until her sobs shook her whole body. Her tears fell into the river, and as they touched the surface, something strange began to happen. The waters began to shimmer, faintly at first, then brighter and brighter, like melted glass under firelight. Ijeoma froze. Her sobs caught in her throat. The river began to move, though no wind blew. Then, from the water, a figure began to rise. A woman, so breathtakingly beautiful that even the stars hid behind the clouds out of respect. Her hair flowed like threads of silver, her skin glowed like morning dew, and her eyes, oh, her eyes were gentle, deep, and ancient. She smiled, and the river smiled with her. Her voice was soft as the flute of a moon festival player when she said, "Why do you cry, daughter of dust?" Ijeoma looked up sharply, her mouth falling open. Every bone in her body screamed, "Run!" She stumbled backward, her heart racing, her eyes wide like the full moon itself. The woman stepped forward, the water never rippling under her feet. "I won't hurt you," she said softly, her voice like rain on dry soil. "I am harmless to those who have done nothing wrong. You see me because I am only here to help you. I am Nemiri." The name rolled through the air like thunder wrapped in silk. The moon goddess. Ijeoma's knees gave way. She fell to the ground trembling. "I greet you, mother of our land. My heart is filled with so much pain and sorrow. I am cursed. Your daughter is cursed. The world mocks my womb. I have borne 6 children, 6. But every child I bear dies before I call them mine. The pain and shame is too much. I don't think I can bear it any longer. As even the gods do not seem to care about me." The goddess knelt beside her, her touch cool and soft against Ijeoma's tear-stained face. "They do care. Your tears have reached the heavens, daughter of the dust. Go home. I will give you a child, one that will stay. But always remember, she is not an ordinary child. She will be a special child. Raise her with kindness, for her light will either bless or burn the world." The river glowed brighter, wrapping them both in a soft silver light. The trees swayed, though no breeze passed. The air tasted like salt and promise. Then, the wind rose gently, swirling around Ijeoma in a slow sacred circle. Her eyes fluttered shut for a heartbeat, and when she opened them again, the river was calm. She gasped, clutching her chest. The goddess was gone. Only the moon remained above, watching her like a proud mother. Terrified, she scrambled to her feet, her breath sharp and quick. What have I just seen? Am I dreaming?" she screamed in horror. Her legs obeyed before her mind did. She turned and ran, the sound of her pounding feet echoing down the lonely path. The night swallowed her figure as she disappeared into the dark, running home, running from wonder, running from the beginning of a miracle she could not yet understand. That night at the river changed everything. When Ijeoma finally returned home, her feet could barely touch the ground. Her heart still pounded with fear and wonder, her mind replaying the voice that had fallen like wind upon her ears. "Go home. I will give you a child, one that would stay." She sat in the darkness of her heart, her eyes wide, her hands shaking. The goddess's voice echoed in her skull like the slow beats of a hidden drum. Could it be real? Could the moon goddess, Nemiri herself, have spoken to her, a poor woman who had nothing but tears and a broken heart to offer? She told no one about what she had seen, Not even her husband Ezudo. Who would believe her that she met the moon goddess herself in the middle of the night? Tofiawa, the same villagers who already called her a witch, would now add madness to her resume of misfortune. So she kept quiet. She swallowed her secret and wrapped it carefully in faith. She swept her compound, cooked her food, and prayed in silence, while her heart burned with a strange new hope. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Then, one morning, Ijeoma woke up weak and dizzy. The smell of food turned her stomach. Her palms began to itch, and her back ached as though she carried something sacred inside her. Her heart leaped. Could it be? She placed a trembling hand over her belly and felt the faintest flutter. Tears filled her eyes. She ran to her husband, who was carving a new gourd for palm wine. Ezudo, she whispered, her voice shaking. It has happened. He stared at her, unbelieving. Wait, what? You don't mean it, Ijeoma. You can't be pregnant again. Yes, she said softly, smiling through her tears. But this time, I have no fear. I believe it will stay. From that day, the moon seemed brighter. At night, it hovered above their huts like a watchful eye, its light following Ijeoma wherever she went. Sometimes when the baby kicked, she would hear the sound of running water, even when the river lay far, far away. The villagers mocked her again. Of course, that was one thing they were very good at. Wonders shall never end. The witch is hungry for another meat, they jeered. Let's see if this one will stay past the 7th month. Their laughter was sharp and cruel. But Ijeoma no longer listened. She would only smile if she heard it. But deep down, she knew something was different. Finally, one cool night, the promise of heaven came calling. That night was not like any other. The air itself felt holy. The moon hung full and round, white as a calabash of milk, shining straight into their compound as if waiting to witness a miracle. Ijeoma's cries broke the stillness. Her screams filled the hut, but this time they carried more prayer than pain. Please, Chim, she cried between breaths. Don't let this one go. Ezudo, shaking like a boy at his first palm wine tapping, ran out barefoot, shouting for the village midwife. Mama Wakeko, please come quickly. My wife is bringing another child, oh. This time even the heavens must help, please. Before long, the midwife came rushing in with her clay pots, bowls, herbs and calm voice. The smell of smoke and shea oil filled the hut. The moonlight poured through the cracks in the roof like liquid silver. Then, just before midnight, a sound split the darkness. A baby's cry, loud, strong and sweet, slicing through the night like a song of victory. The moment the child was born, the light from the moon grew fierce and poured into the hut, wrapping everything in a soft silver glow. Even the midwife gasped and crossed herself. She swore she saw a faint shimmer on the baby's skin. It was there for a second, then gone the next. Ezudo knelt beside his wife, trembling with joy. She's so beautiful, he whispered. What shall we call her? Ijeoma smiled weakly, sweat glistening on her face. Ndidiamaka, she said, we have waited patiently for this beautiful gift. What the gods has written for us has come to pass. And from that day, peace returned to their home. Ijeoma laughed again. She now sang while pounding yam. She danced when carrying firewood to the kitchen, shaking her waist like a woman reborn. Even Ezudo began to smile like the man she had married long ago. But there was something strange about the child. It seemed as though a light followed her. Sometimes, late at night, when the baby slept, the moon spilled gently into the room. Ijeoma would sit still, watching the baby, as the voice of the goddess echoed in her head. Raise her with kindness, for her light will either bless or burn the world. She didn't yet understand what that meant, but those nights felt strange, as though unseen eyes watched from the sky. And each time the child stared in her sleep, the moon seemed to blink, shining a little brighter, as if smiling upon its secret. Ijeoma didn't need to be told. It was clear that her child was not an ordinary child. Even her cries had melody, soft, musical, like the flute of a dancer carried on the wind. She grew fast, stronger than the other babies in the village. Before she turned 3 months, she was already sitting upright and staring at the sky, as if she recognized it. Sometimes, Ijeoma would catch her smiling into the air, waving her tiny hands at nothing. "See this one," Ijeoma would laugh, shaking her head. "Who are you greeting up there?" But deep inside, her heart would tremble because each time the baby laughed, the room would brighten just a little, as though the moon had peeked in to watch. The villagers, of course, had mouths that never rested. Ijeoma's baby, Ndidiamaka, was the biggest trending thing in Umuozara. They would say, side-eyeing the child as they walked past Ezudo's compound. "I've never heard this child cry like other babies. She's too quiet. I heard that when she sneezed the other day, her mother's firewood caught fire," another added, lowering her voice dramatically. In the evenings, as the market women walked back home, discussing Ijeoma's child gave them more joy than talking about how their day went in the market. "That child's eyes shine at night. I saw it with my own 2 korokoro eyes," one woman would say. "Ah, Ekuzikwana," another would reply. "So what did you do?" "What else? I ran before she would turn me into yam." They burst into laughter. Who knows where she got the child from? I just hope she doesn't die like the others. But when the night came, those same women would sneak peeks towards Ijeoma's compound, hoping to catch another glimpse of the mystery child. Ijeoma and Ezudo heard it all, but chose to ignore the talk. They had waited too long for this joy to care about what people thought. Ezudo would carry Ndidiamaka on his shoulders and stroll proudly to the palm grove, humming old folk songs as villagers looked on. "I told you my wife doesn't eat babies. Look at her. See the evidence," he would shout proudly, grinning from ear to ear. And the people would laugh, but secretly they wondered how long this miracle would last. As Ndidiamaka grew, strange and beautiful things began to happen. When she laughed, the air would smell sweet, like rain on dry ground. And when she cried, her tears rolled down as tiny pearls, smooth and shiny like droplets of moonlight. The first time it happened, Ijeoma screamed and almost dropped her on the floor. "Ezudo," she shouted, "come and see, our child is shedding pearls." Her husband rushed in and saw the tiny glowing beads on her palm and froze. "Chim," he gasped. "If people see this thing, we are in trouble and our child might be taken from us. This is pearl, real pearl." They hid the pearls in a clay pot behind the hut, afraid of what might happen if anyone finds out. They made Ndidiamaka never cry. One night, as the moon rose high, something strange happened. A man returning from the stream saw their compound glowing softly, as though it was wearing moonlight for a wrapper. He ran back to the village square, panting like a goat chased by rain. "Something is shining behind Ijeoma's house," he cried. "I saw it, something is shining." The villagers grabbed torches and followed him, their curiosity sharper than common sense. When they reached, they found Ijeoma sitting outside, rocking her baby in her arms and humming softly. The glow had faded, only the moon above smiled, full and bright. So where is the light you saw?" They mocked the man. He scratched his head. "It was here. It was glowing. I saw it." "Maybe the moon greeted you specially," another teased, and everyone burst into laughter. But the man didn't laugh. He glanced once more at the baby in Ijeoma's arms, as his heart beat faster. He knew what he saw. Her little eyes were open, calm and silver, and for a second, he could have sworn the moon blinked through her. By the time Ndidiamaka turned 1, her name had spread far and beyond Umuozara. People came from neighboring villages to see the child born under the moon. Some came out of curiosity, some out of envy, and some out of quiet fear. Old women would touch her head and whisper, "This one carries the mark of destiny." Ijeoma smiled politely, but she never let anyone hold her child for long. She always remembered the goddess's words. "Raise her with kindness, for her light will either bless or burn the world." At night, when all was quiet, she would lie beside Ndidiamaka and whisper, "My daughter, may your light never burn me." Seasons turned and moons came and went, until little Ndidiamaka grew into a stunning young maiden. So radiant, so graceful, that people often stopped in their tracks just to stare at her. Her beauty wasn't the ordinary type that came and went with good lighting. No, this one was different. Her skin glowed softly, not like oil, but like morning dew resting on a leaf. Her eyes held a calm light, and her laughter rolled through the air like music made of sunshine and wind. Sometimes, children would hide behind the trees just to peep at her when she walked to the stream. Women would pause their conversations mid-sentence. Even the old men at the palm wine joints would blink twice and mutter, "Beauty like this must have been carved by the gods themselves when they were in a happy mood." But it wasn't just her beauty. No, Ndidiamaka was well raised, gentle, kind, and full of life. She greeted everyone with a smile so warm that it could melt anger itself. It was said that anyone she smiled at would experience good fortune before the next moon. Some swore it was true, as many had experienced it. That girl smiled at me at the market last week, a trader would say. And that same evening, my yams, which had been difficult to sell for many weeks, all got sold out. Even the village rascal Obika once bragged, "She smiled at me yesterday. Watch and see, my destiny will change soon." When nothing happened, the villagers laughed at him for a whole week, saying, "Maybe her smile skipped your bad behavior." But it was true. Her presence brought blessings to the kingdom, and even endless blessings to her parents. Ezudo's palm wine tapping business was now booming. His wines seemed to now taste differently, as though it had been prepared specially in heaven. People came from far and near just to buy Ezudo's palm wine, and Ezudo was living happily and fulfilled. As for Mami Ijeoma, his wife, her fortunes doubled like magic. Her palm oil business grew so well that even the chief's wife sent servants to buy from her. The palace ordered from her. People said everything that belongs to that woman shines. Even her firewood burnt brighter. They were happy indeed, and in return, they treated their daughter like the jewel she was. Ndidiamaka wore the finest clothes her parents could afford, wrappers dyed in deep indigo and coral beads that sparkled on her wrist. Her mother braided her hair with patience and pride, decorating it with cowries that jingled when she walked. But truth be told, she didn't need much to look good. Ndidiamaka's beauty was unmatched in the entire village and perhaps in the entire world. Her name was on every tongue. Ndidiamaka, the rare beauty no one has seen before. Ndidiamaka, the daughter of moonlight. Ndidiamaka, the blessing of Umuozara. Even mothers began to name their newborn daughters after her, hoping some of her grace would rub off on their own children. And then came her nights, those beautiful nights, when the moon rose high and kissed the sky, pouring its silver light down upon Umuozara. Something mysterious happened. Ndidiamaka would rise from her mat, her feet moving as if called by an unseen drum. Her voice would ring through the air, clear and haunting, while her hands lifted gracefully towards the heavens. She would dance, not like a mortal girl, but like the moon goddess herself. Her body swayed like a leaf in gentle wind. Her movements shimmered with light, and whenever she danced, the moon shone brighter, glowing proudly, as if answering its child's song. The villagers would gather in Ezudo's compound, drawn by her voice and the mystery of her dance. Men forgot their weariness, women forgot their chores, even children stopped fighting and watched in awe. Her song filled the air, a song so beautiful, so full of magic, that the whole village would hold their breath to listen.
Daughter of the moon is here. The child of light has come. She bathed my heart in silver sea. I was born with a river's dream, clothed in laughter, kissed by gleam. My steps awake in sleeping ground. My song makes broken hearts rebound. Where sorrow stood, my joy appeared. For I am the light that wipes longing's tears. Daughter of the moon, daughter of the moon, daughter of the moon is here. Light, joy is fire. Daughter of the moon is here. The night remembers my mother's face. She painted my skin with her sacred grace. Her breath became my living song. Her rhythm beats where I belong. Oh, stars, my sister, shine and see what beauty the moon has given me.
Her voice would rise and fall like waves, carrying through the trees, over the roofs, and down to the river that once shimmered the night she was promised. The villagers would hold their hearts, some in tears, others smiling through trembling lips. They had never seen such beauty, not in any festival, not in any dream. And as she danced, the moon above swayed gently, glowing brighter with every step, as though mother and daughter were performing together for the world below. As Ndidiamaka's dance filled the night, her light began to move beyond her parents' compound. It spilled gently into the whole of Umuozara, seeping into every hut, every farm, every hungry heart that dared to open again. Wherever Ndidiamaka went, things had a way of changing. If she passed the farmer's crop began to flourish. If she stopped to greet a trader, their goods sold out that very day. If she smiled at anyone, that person's week was sure to go well. Children followed her around, laughing and hoping she would touch them. Women prayed she would pass by their shops. Even men who pretended not to believe found themselves secretly waiting by the roadside whenever she went to the river. Her life was a walking blessing, quiet, natural, and pure. One hot afternoon, something happened that shook the whole village. Odum the wine tapper had climbed one of his tall palm trees as he always did, to fetch the sweet wine that kept his family fed. He was a strong man, known for his laughter and his speed on the trees. But that day, something went wrong. The branch beneath his foot snapped. Before anyone could shout his name, he fell hard on the floor. By the time the villagers gathered, Odum lay still on the ground. His wife Ngozi threw herself beside him, wailing and rolling on the dust. Odum, please wake up for your children, she screamed, beating her chest as neighbors tried to hold her. People shook their heads sorrowfully. He's gone, one said. This is how strong men fall like palm fruits, another murmured. Someone ran to call the chief. Someone else went for the herbalist. The air was thick with noise, panic, and dust. Just then, from the path that led to the river, Ndidiamaka appeared. Her water pot balanced on her head, her feet glistening with droplets. She had gone to fetch water, humming softly to herself, unaware of the tragedy ahead. When she saw the crowd, she paused. What happened? She asked the boy running past. It's Odumo. He fell from the tree, he replied. Everyone thinks he's dead. Ndidiamaka's heart clenched. She dropped her water pot gently on the ground and hurried towards the sound of crying. As soon as people saw her, they turned in surprise. Mba, Ndidiamaka, what are you doing here? Go home, one woman said quietly. You're not supposed to be here. Another man added, this is not a place for young children. Step back before you see what will give you nightmares. She didn't listen. Her eyes were already glistening with pity at the sight of Ngozi, who lay on the floor, her voice ringing with sorrow. She pushed gently through the crowd, murmuring, please, let me pass. The villagers moved aside, partly out of respect, partly out of curiosity. When she reached where Odum lay, she knelt beside him. His body had gone cold, his chest still. His wife was still crying. Ndidiamaka looked at the woman and whispered softly, don't cry again. Then she turned to Odum. Without saying a word, she placed her small hand on his forehead. For a moment, everything was silent. The crowd held its breath. Even the wind seemed to stop. Then suddenly, the sound of coughing. Adam's body jerked. He coughed again, then gasped, blinking rapidly like a man waking from a long dream. "Where am I?" he muttered quickly, sitting up. People screamed, "Chimbo, he's alive! Adam has risen!" Women ran, shouting in shock and joy. Some fell to their knees, others clapped their hands above their heads, screaming, "A miracle! A miracle!" Before anyone could even turn back to look at Ndidiamaka to ask her what she did or how she did it, she had quietly slipped out of the crowd, picked up her water pot, and was already walking home, her footsteps calm, as if nothing had happened. The people stood frozen, watching her disappear down the path, the sun resting gently on her shoulders. From that day, a new name spread across the land: Ndidiamaka, the girl who walks with light. News traveled fast in Umuozara, faster than harmattan fire on dry grass. By evening, the story of Odom's miraculous resurrection had reached every corner of the village, from the king's palace to the market square, from the palm wine joint to the farms by the river bank. "Did you hear?" Ndidiamaka touched Odom's forehead as he came back to life. "Ah, you are lying. How can that be?" "Like, do you know me as a liar? My brother's wife's cousin's neighbor was there." The man just coughed though and stood up like someone who just woke from a nap. The story spread like wind, carrying the scent of ripe fruit. And with each retelling, the miracle grew larger. Some said the girl spoke to the dead man, others swore she sang and heavens opened. But one thing remained the same. The man had died and Ndidiamaka brought him back. By the next morning, besties, trust the villagers now. The road to Ezudo's compound was full. People came carrying sick children, broken limbs, and hopeless hearts. "Please, let the moon's daughter touch my child. My wife has been sick for months. Maybe one smile from her will heal her. Ah, my farm is dying. Let her step on the soil. Just step on the soil. Even one footstep is enough." Ijeoma and Ezudo were overwhelmed. They stood at their doorway, staring at the endless lines of faces. "My husband," Ijeoma whispered nervously, "these people will not let us rest again." Ezudo scratched his head, looking helpless. "What can we do? Should we chase them away? Who can chase away hope?" So they allowed Ndidiamaka greet a few people that morning, just to calm the crowd. She touched a sick boy's head and his fever broke instantly. A woman whose hand had been swollen for months stretched her fingers and began to clap, crying with joy. The crowd roared, dancing and shouting, "A miracle! A miracle!" But among the crowd, not every heart rejoiced. Some watched with narrowed eyes and lips twisted with jealousy. That evening, when the chief's council met under the old Odala tree, their discussion was not about farming or festivals. It was about the girl Ndidiamaka. "This matter should be looked into," Chief Odeniwo said, folding his arms. "We can't all sit here and watch a little girl take our shine in this kingdom. First, she brings good fortune, and now she brings back the dead. What will she bring next? Thunder? Banner? This can't continue." Another chief nodded quickly. "We have never seen this kind of power in Umuozara. Not even the priest of Nemiri can do the things this girl does." "But is it bad?" one of the elders asked quietly. "Since she came into this kingdom, our people have been prospering and they are happy." "That is exactly what makes it dangerous," Odenibo replied sharply. "Too much blessing can blind the eye. If one girl can do what our gods do, then soon people will forget how to bow to the shrine. And if everybody becomes wealthy, we will lose our relevance in this kingdom, because the rich does not worship the rich. It is always the rich to the poor. Don't you get it?" Wham! Esiohu, you're making a point, they murmured amongst themselves, their faces darkening with fear and envy. "We need to do something." Back at home, Ndidiamaka remained unaware of the evil whispers her miracles had stirred. She still went about her days as she always did, cheerful, gentle and kind, bringing hope to everyone who needed one. Many of the villagers loved her. When she walked through the market, traders shouted blessings after her. When she passed the stream, children followed her singing. "See her," the women would say, smiling proudly. "That's our moon daughter, our light." But still, even among the ordinary people, envy was springing up. Some men spat on the ground after she passed. Some women muttered, "It's not ordinary power that this child uses. No child glows like this unless something is behind it. There is something Ijeoma is not telling us. She has not told us where she got this evil child from." Little by little, the same mouths that once called her blessing began to call her a mystery. One afternoon, as Ndidiamaka walked home from the stream, she saw a group of maidens sitting beneath a tree, whispering and laughing. She greeted them kindly. They looked up at her, smiling too sweetly. One of them, Chika, replied, "Ah, Ndidiamaka the shining one. Even the sun hides when you pass." Another added, our own very goddess of Umuozara. Look at her. Maybe one day she will start turning sand into gold." They all burst into laughter, loud and sharp, like broken clay pots. Ndidiamaka only smiled faintly and kept walking. She had grown used to whispers, but that night, for the first time, her dance was slower, her song quieter, as though something heavy had touched her. And far above, in the sky, the moon looked down, watching, waiting, glowing a little dimmer. It didn't take long before the news about Ndidiamaka reached the highest ears in Umuozara. The king himself heard it one cool evening while sipping palm wine on his balcony. His guards were chatting below. "They say the girl only needs to smile, and your bad luck will change," one said. "Smile, Ke. I heard she brought a dead man back to life," another replied. The king frowned. "A girl?" he asked quietly. "Brought a man back to life in this kingdom?" That night, he called his chiefs for an urgent meeting at the palace. The moon was high when the chiefs arrived, their wrappers rustling and beads clinking as they settled into their seats. The air was thick with the smell of oil lamps and suspicion. Chief Odenibo cleared his throat. "My king, that girl they call Ndidiamaka is not ordinary." The king nodded slowly. "That is what I've heard. But tell me, should that be a cause for fear or for gratitude?" Odenibo leaned forward. "I smell disaster, my king. It might be gratitude today, but definitely it will be danger tomorrow. Powers like that does not come without a price. Today she heals, tomorrow she may destroy. I don't believe in her miracles, my king. That is all a trick to turn the hearts of our people. We must be careful." The others murmured in agreement. Said Chief Adindo, stroking his beard. "If she truly carries such power, then we must confirm it ourselves. Perhaps the gods have sent her as a gift to this land, or as a test." The king turned his gaze to the open courtyard, where the moonlight spilled in pale silver. After a long silence, he said, "Then let us find out. Send for the girl quietly. We will see with our own eyes if these tales are true." The next morning, a royal messenger arrived at Ezudo's compound, his voice echoing with authority. "By the order of His Majesty King Okoro of Umuozara, your daughter Ndidiamaka is invited to the palace. The king wishes to see her." Ijeoma's hands froze where she was washing cassava. "The palace? What for? What has my Ndidiamaka done?" The messenger bowed. "I have no answer to give. I only obeyed the order I was given." When he left, Ezudo began to pace. This doesn't smell right. Since when does the king invite young maidens to the palace? You've heard what the people say. What if... Ijoma interrupted him softly. What if it's not evil? What if the gods are opening new doors for our daughter? But her voice trembled even as she spoke. They dressed Ndidiamaka in her finest wrapper, braided her hair neatly, and tied coral beads around her waist and neck. As she prepared to leave, Ijoma held her close. "My daughter," she whispered, "when you get to the palace, speak little, smile gently, and whatever happens, respect the king." Ndidiamaka nodded. "Don't worry, Mama. I'll be fine." When she entered the palace courtyard, everyone stopped to look. The guards forgot to salute, the maids froze mid-step, even the royal dogs stopped barking. She glowed softly under the morning sun, her presence calm and pure, her eyes full of grace and beauty. The king and his chiefs watched from their seats. Chief Odenibo whispered, "See how even the air changes when she enters." The king said nothing. He raised his hand. "Welcome, child. We have heard of your goodness. They say you bring fortune wherever you go." Ndidiamaka bowed respectfully. "Long live the king. But I only do what heaven allows." The king nodded. "Then, let the heaven prove itself today. One of my servants is ill. Come. Let us see if your touch truly carries light, as we have done all we can to get him back on his feet. But they've all proved futile." They led her into a chamber where a young man lay pale and weak on a mat. The smell of herbs and sickness hung in the air. The chiefs stood around like judges waiting for a verdict. Ndidiamaka knelt beside the man. His breathing was shallow, his skin burning. She hesitated, then gently she touched his hand. A silence filled the room. Then slowly, the man opened his eyes, his breath steadied, color returned to his cheeks. Gasp filled the chamber. "It's true," one chief whispered. "She carries light." But not everyone rejoiced. Chief Odenibo's face tightened, his eyes narrowed, and a slow frown crept across his lips as his heart burned with jealousy. He turned to the king. "My king, this light shines too bright, and light that shines this bright can also burn. If our touch can heal, it can also harm." The king looked at the girl again, this time with both awe and unease. "Leave," he said quietly. "All of you. I must think." Outside the palace, the crowd waited eagerly for news. When they saw Ndidiamaka step out radiant as ever, their whispers turned into cheers. "Yes, she has healed the king's servants. She is the chosen of the gods. Umozara will never suffer again." As the crowd praised Ndidiamaka, Chief Odenibo turned away, his mind already weaving the first threads of a dark plan. Under the shadow of the Udala tree, Chief Odenibo stood watching, his fingers tapping slowly against his staff. He muttered to himself, "If her light continues to grow, who will bow to me? Who will bow to the chiefs? Who will fear the crown? The people's hearts will belong to her. See how they were praising her. No, we can't watch this happen. I won't fold my hands and do nothing." That night, when the moon had gone half behind the clouds, Chief Odenibo slipped quietly out of his compound. He wrapped his red wrapper tightly and covered his head with a dark cloth. His footsteps were silent, careful, like a man whose conscience feared being heard. He walked past the market square, past the silent shrines of small gods, until he reached the thick grove behind the king's palace, the sacred place where the chief priest Dibia Okwaraji lived. The air there smelled of smoke and mystery. All cried in the trees. Odenigbo hesitated for a moment and cleared his throat. Dibia Okwaraji, the voice of the gods, the keeper of the sacred flame. It is I, Odenigbo. A shadow moved inside the hut. The priest's voice came out rough and deep. What did you say your name is? Who disturbs the gods at this hour? It is not the gods I disturb, Odenigbo said, stepping closer. It is you, my old friend. The priest came out slowly, his white chalk marks glowing faintly under the moon. He squinted at Odenigbo, frowning. Chief Odenigbo, is there war? Why do you come to me like a thief in the night? Odenigbo smiled faintly, because daylight listens too much. He waited until they were both seated by the small fire burning in front of the hut. The priest threw a handful of herbs into the flames, and the sweet heavy smoke filled the air. Well, Okwaraji said at last, speak before the gods grow impatient. What brings you here? Odenigbo leaned forward, lowering his voice. It is about the girl Ndidiamaka. The priest's eyes flickered. The moon's daughter, the one who heals and brings blessing. The same, Odenigbo said sharply. The one who is slowly replacing the gods. The priest laughed, shaking his head. Odenigbo, your jealousy is showing. You fear the girl because she shines where you cannot. Leave her. Let her be. The people are happy. When last did we see Umuozara this blessed? Odenigbo's jaw tightened. Happy, yes. But for how long? You think the gods are pleased that a girl performs their duties? That her smile brings fortune while your charms gather dust? The priest frowned. Mind your tongue, Odenigbo. The gods are not mocked. Then open your eyes and stop being foolish, Odenigbo snapped, his voice rising. How many people come to you for help now? How many still bring goats, fowls and kola nuts to your shrine? Since that girl came, who still calls your name when sickness strikes? Okwaraji fell silent, his lips pressed tight. Odenigbo leaned closer, his tone soft but sharp as a blade. It is more for your sake than mine. You are losing relevance in this kingdom. You are the mouth of the gods, yet the people now bow to a girl whose only altar is her smile. The priest looked into the fire, still saying nothing. Odenigbo continued, his eyes glinting. I am not your enemy, Dibia. I am your friend. We've known each other for the longest time. If we don't stop her now, your shrine will become an anthill. You will die in poverty and hunger, and my staff of office, my pride, will be forgotten under dust. The king is already confused as we speak. The people worship her in their hearts. Soon, the crown and the shrine will mean nothing. The fire crackled between them. The priest's breathing slowed. His pride and fear began to wrestle within him. This was what Odenigbo wanted to achieve. Finally, Dibia sighed deeply. What do you suggest? A slow, evil smile crept across Odenigbo's face. I know the voice of the gods would listen to reason. We do not need to harm her, not yet. We only need to turn the hearts of the people against her and regain our place. The priest nodded slowly, though doubt flickered behind his eyes. Okay, so what must be done? Odenibo leaned in closer, his whisper coiling through the smoke like a serpent. Tomorrow night, during the next moonrise, we will summon her and test the strength of her light. The priest looked towards the sky. The moon hung there, half hidden, half bright, like truth covered in shadow. He muttered softly, "May the gods forgive us if we are wrong." Odenibo stood adjusting his wrapper. If we are wrong, the gods will correct us. But if we are right, he smiled darkly, then the moon's daughter will fall, and Umwazara will remember who truly rules this land, we or her. The wind hissed through the trees as he walked away, his shadow long and crooked against the earth. Behind him, the priest remained by the fire staring at the flames that now danced wildly, as if the gods themselves had begun to whisper. The next night, the sky above Umwazara was restless. Ndidiamaka's fate was about to be decided. Somehow, Odenibo had managed to convince the king. The wind howled through the trees, carrying whispers from the gods. Drums that should have been silent began to beat on their own, slow and heavy, like the sound of approaching doom. In the palace courtyard, torches flickered as villagers gathered from every corner of the land. The chiefs sat in a circle, their faces grave. The king looked confused but said nothing. And beside him stood Dibia Okwaraji, the chief priest, holding his sacred staff. His white robe flapped in the night breeze, his eyes darting uneasily towards the moon. At the center of the courtyard stood Ndidiamaka, radiant yet frightened, dressed in a simple white wrapper. Her mother Ijeoma clung to her side, whispering prayers under her breath. Odenibo's voice rose above the murmurs. "My people of Umwazara," he shouted, his tone rich and commanding. "We have gathered here under the witness of the gods to test the light that walks amongst us, to know whether this child's power is from heaven or from the darkness beneath." The crowd murmured, fear and curiosity mixing like oil and water. The chief priest lifted his staff high. "Bring the sacred calabash." A servant stepped forward carrying the large calabash filled with water drawn from the 7 rivers of the land. It was said that if one was pure, the water would glow with moonlight. But if one's heart was false, the water would turn black. He placed it at Ndidiamaka's feet. "Kneel," he commanded softly. Ijeoma tried to protest, but 2 guards pulled her back. Tears streamed down her face. "Please, my daughter has done nothing wrong. Leave her alone." "Silence, woman," Odenibo barked. "If her power is pure, the gods will defend her." The crowd held its breath as Ndidiamaka knelt by the calabash. Her hands trembled, her eyes wide with fear. The priest began to chant in a strange, deep voice. The firelight flickered wildly. The wind grew stronger, swirling dust around them. "Let the truth reveal itself," he intoned. "If light is pure, let it shine. If darkness hides within, let it be seen." He dropped the feather into the calabash and waved it over her head. The water shimmered, then began to bubble. Gasp filled the courtyard. Suddenly, all they heard was boom. The calabash exploded, splashing water and smoke in all directions. The flames leaped high, burning blue and white. The priest stumbled backward, shouting. The crowd screamed and scattered. Ndidiamaka fell to the ground, trembling. Her mother broke free and ran to her, holding her tight. "Chim, what have they done to you, my child?" But before the priest could speak, Odenibo's voice thundered through the chaos. She has bewitched the test, he cried. Do you not see it? The calabash of purity has broken. This maiden is no child of light. She is a witch. She doesn't want us to see it. The people gasped, confused and afraid. A witch? No wonder the strange things happening around her. Maybe her beauty is just a disguise. Odenibo pointed at her dramatically. Seize her! He shouted. The guards rushed forward, dragging Ndidiamaka and her weeping mother towards the shrine. Ijeoma screamed, fighting them with all her strength. Leave her! Leave my daughter! She has done nothing. Please, by the gods, she is innocent. My daughter is not a witch, she cried, but no one listened. They tied Ndidiamaka's hands and locked her inside the old shrine, the same one that had not been opened in 20 years. The air was thick with dust and forgotten prayers. Ijeoma refused to leave her side. She sat outside the wooden door, crying, pounding her fist against it. Open it! You cannot cage the moon's child, she wailed, until her voice broke. Inside, Ndidiamaka wept silently. Her tears fell like rain, her heart heavy with pain, sorrow and betrayal. She had done nothing wrong, nothing. Why, mother? She whispered into the darkness. Why are you allowing them punish me for the light you gave me? That night, the wind changed. The drums that once celebrated had begun to sound hollow, uncertain. The moon rose pale and trembling, then slowly began to fade. Darkness swallowed the sky. All across Umuazara, torches went out, fires died, and a strange stillness settled over the village. People ran out of their huts, pointing upward in fear. The moon, they cried. The moon is gone. And from the distant shrine, a soft song began to rise. Voices, full of sorrow, drifting through the air like a lament carried by ghosts. It was the voice of the spirits, low, broken and aching. The song called through the trees, through the king's palace, through every fearful heart that once shared her name. Mothers held their children close. The old men trembled. The night had turned into morning. By morning, the sky was grey and heavy. The chiefs gathered again, their faces drawn and pale, but none of them had words to say. Odenibo stormed towards the shrine, his mind buzzing with questions and unease. He pushed open the heavy wooden door and stepped inside. What he saw stopped his breath. The floor of the shrine glittered. Thousands of pearls lay scattered across the ground, shining softly in the dim lights. They were piled around Ndidiamaka, who sat weeping quietly in the corner, her face streaked with tears. Odenibo looked around, wondering where the pearls had come from. Then he looked closely at her and noticed a single pearl that still clung to her cheek, trembling like a drop of living moonlight. Odenibo's mouth opened in shock. "Pearls," he whispered, his voice shaking. "So many." He turned slowly, his face pale. Her tears are pearls. "This girl," he muttered under his breath. "This girl is more than we thought." And for the first time, fear replaced the envy in his eyes. "What have I gotten myself into?" he panicked. "Oh, what?" Hey besties, we've come to the end of the part 1 of the story, and I hope you enjoyed it, even as we enjoyed making it. The final part of the story drops tomorrow, and I hope you stay tuned. I would love you to share your thoughts in the comments section. What do you think about the story? And if you enjoy our stories but you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please do not skip this video without hitting on the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so that you get notified whenever we post new stories. Thank you so much for all your love, your support, your encouragement. That means so much to me. Right now, I'll have to go, and see you tomorrow. Bye!